Welcome back, dear viewers, to the studio of Hala Kuwait. And of course, I would like to welcome our second guest of today's episode, Noor Nijdi, radio and TV host. Welcome to the studio.
Hello, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking me in and inviting me here tonight. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you and everybody else.
The pleasure is ours.
Thank you.
Basically, I'm excited to get to know more about you and about, the things that you do, especially your radio side, because,
yes,
this is TV side, radio
and
side,
radio
even though you have been doing both.
I've been doing both, yes.
All right, so basically, what are the, let's say, key differences between hosting a TV show and a radio show?
Well, to be honest, they're both like, if you will, like they're both the same coin but different sides. And the way I see it, TV and radio, TV has more of an engagement with the audience, with the people in front of you, as much as like hand gestures, body language, makeup, camera, virtual stuff, visuals, if you will. So there's a lot of engagement when it comes to TV. On radio, it's kind of the other side of the coin. Still yet, it is very hard to actually send your message across to the listeners. Specifically if you are just using your voice, only solely your voice. That is why it's a challenge, and it requires a lot of, how do I say this, a lot of charisma, or being characteristically ready, skill set, if you will, to send the image to the listener only through your voice.
Yes. And then we have to start imagining the conversation, and
yes,
you have to pick up the pace, I guess, more than TV host, because a 2 second of silence is definitely awkward in a radio station, as far as I know. See, I got a lot of experience.
You do.
I've never been there, probably.
You've been there, right? I know what you're saying. Yeah, you've been there a lot, and you know how it is, specifically when it comes to silent moments on the radio. On TV, you can have these silent moments when it comes to visual creations, stuff like this, or nature, or somebody's talking. But on radio, it's the other side of the coin. But yet, they are the same coin, the same message. Still radio information, and here in Kuwait, specifically in Kuwait, lately it has been more progressive towards radio and TV, opening up new areas, new conversations, new programs, approaching international people, which is actually a huge advantage to us as hosts,
yes,
like you.
100%.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, so Noor, let's focus more about the audience, since we mentioned audience. So how do the audiences for TV and radio differ? How does that influence your approach also as radio? The
audience, usually when you compare both, you have a different kind of audience. Usually, most of the time, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, 90% of the time, the people who are watching TV, they have to be at least 90% immobilized, or sitting, or focusing on the screen, or something like this. But the advantage in the radio, the TV of course has an advantage, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to start any feud or anything. I'm just saying, no, not there yet. But the point is that the radio, you can just listen to me while you're tasking.
While
driving most of the time. That's why it's very important and very crucial to the host on air to be always ready to make sure that the person who's listening can actually imagine you next to him as a passenger or as a friend talking. Specifically, so the subject has to be, clicking, that he can actually listen to you and imagine the subject and not get bored. It's very crucial.
That's very important, yes.
You know what I mean? On TV, you're going to have their attention because they're watching you. They're seeing what they're seeing right here.
Yes, definitely.
Right? But on radio, you have to make sure that you're connected with the audience through their imagination and their ears, and they actually do interact, and through the radio specifically, because a lot of the generation that listen to the radio in Kuwait are mostly, I'm not going to say a lot of them are from the new generation, mostly are from our generation, question mark. And they usually want to call on the radio to remember the good old times,
Yes.
or to even ask for new music with their kids. So it's like a bonding moment when they call up the radio and say, I want to request a song, I want to do this, how are you doing?
Yes, even though we can, you can search our song and you can play it on your own, but when you call the radio, it feels different. It hits different.
That's amazing. You just said that perfectly. That's why you can do this. And yes, you can just play. Who plays the radio? Not too many people that do that. But lately, they have been doing this because of the radio hosts. They encourage the audience to actually engage with the show, to give them a call, to call me up on this number, and they request a song, although they can just use the YouTube, but they would rather actually request a song and dedicate it to their kids while they're with them in the car. Creates such a good vibe for the family, man.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, so how does, let's say, preparation for TV hosting differ from preparing for a radio show? Now, we're going to get talking more
Right.
about the differences between all the
Like
things
subjects.
that, yes, all the aspects.
Well, when you prepare for a radio show, you usually make sure that all the subjects and topics that you're preparing are not about anybody but the person who's going to be listening to you. So you need to make sure that the information you're sending out there to the people either is gonna really attract the listeners from the first second or the first 10 seconds so they can keep going and listening to you, or you can have to interact by actually asking them to call you and tell you their opinion about something. So all the subjects has to be either interactive with them, so they call you up, or informative, that they actually know something they have never known before or they don't remember knowing about it. So you are either motivating the nostalgia, the information, or something that clicks in their mind, like, hey, have you ever heard about something that actually the octopus has 3 hearts, for example? Or call me up if you remember this song and if you would like to know who made the song. Or did you remember something about this artist or this actor or this musician? The subjects has to be a lot more quicker, yes, and engaging, because we have a really small time frame that we need to make sure that the listeners don't get bored and we lose their interest in listening. Otherwise, they're going to just easily
switch
it off.
Definitely.
Switch it off.
It's definitely, it takes more effort to keep the audience engaging and also keeping up with the radio.
That's true. In TV, it's also important, but in TV there's a director, there's a person who does this, the makeup, the visuals, everything. There's a lot of whole group work. Also on the radio, but not that much. It all pours down to the radio host, and in our radio hosting, there's different categories for being a radio host, depending on what personality and what skill set do they have.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So what communication skills are most important for TV hosting versus radio hosting?
Man, your questions are very nice. The questions
precise,
are really,
I would say.
I was about to tell you, these questions are really good. All right, well, there's different kinds of radio hosts, especially in our radio, which is, I don't know, 99.7 Radio Kuwait. Our station, the people who go on air, they have different characteristics. Everyone has his own skill tree set. And the director, Aki, our director, he makes sure that every radio host that goes on air has their own personality and has their different vibe than the other host. So you have to have either charisma, you have to have either sarcasm, funny, storytelling, informative, but they all have to be intuitive to the point of they have to be very known of what they're saying, and to have the smartness and the patience and the calmness of picking up anything that goes wrong, because you're live on air. There's no room for error. Once you say something out there in the ether,
it's out there.
It's out there. So you have to have those characteristics, either, this kind of controlling and understanding, an opening as a person that you can actually pick up anything that goes wrong, even technical wise. If anything goes wrong, you gotta be...
It's all on you.
All on you. You gotta be ready to turn it around and to actually speak up on something else. Or you have to be funny or informative. So every one of us has his own combination.
So eventually, it's not as easy as people think. It's a lot of work. But you know, I had a lot of questions and a lot of things to talk about. But of course, we ran out of time. So basically, I really appreciate you being part of our interview in
It's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure being here, and I love being on Hala Kuwait. It's always my home, away from home.
You're part of the family.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so dear viewers, that was Noor Najdi, radio and TV host. For now, we don't go away because, of course, we still have more to come, which is a fourth report of today, which is about heritage. So stay with us and let's check this report out.